Also, the back boards and diffusers at the back of the car. The aerodynamic pieces. There are rules governing it now. So Mercedes is not going to have that big advantage that they had, and they banned the DAS system. So everybody is getting closer. They're getting closer and closer to each other. And apparently the Honda engine has come up. The Honda people, because they are living, they've come up with a new power unit, which is going to be legendary. You know.
And mind you, the Honda team is two, Red Bull and AlphaTauri. And last season, we all saw what AlphaTauri did with their car. I mean, they actually won one race, you know. So this season, I'm expecting a lot more overtaking, right? And the thing is, with F1, anything can happen. Anything, and I mean anything. Once you're on the track, there's the slightest loss of concentration or an engine problem could change the dynamics of the championship in so many ways. You understand? And because they'll be closer to each other this season, we probably should be expecting a lot more safety cars and a lot more, you know, and some of these things, you know, some of these teams can manipulate these things. They can use it as tricks, you know, on the blind side of the stewards and all that. So it will be an interesting season. How people are going to play on strategy to win the championship, not just the car, but then strategy.
Wow, interesting stuff there. Now let's come to us and how we're going to celebrate each race. I'm told that there are a lot of exciting things coming up for this season.
Oh, yes.
Kwabena, run us through it.
We have very, very exciting stuff coming this season, and it's all starting next weekend. You know, we have 6 strategic races for all of our patrons in our two major F1 platforms. If anybody wants to join the platform, once you're an F1 fan, you can get in touch with us easily and we can add you. But we have an exciting race coming up as a curtain raiser for the season on the 27th of March at the A1 Raceway in Temakomni 25, Def Track area, which the main prize on that particular day is a fully expense-paid trip to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the last race of the season, for the winner of that particular go-kart race. So the season is going to come up with a lot more exciting of these. We have 6 of these races coming up till the end of the season. And we also have partners like Shell who are also coming on board. Our first race is being owned and done by Heineken, who is a major F1 stakeholder globally. So Heineken, this is actually going to be a Heineken go-kart event. And this is the day before our first F1 viewing party. And then our first F1 viewing party is at the Marina Mall Upper Deck Car Park. It's a drive-in viewing party. We have exciting giveaways and exciting activities coming up with Shell at the airport Shell itself. You can drive in, once you're coming to the viewing party, you will drive into Shell, you get your car checked over, diagnostics and everything for free, and fuel will be purchased at 5% discount. Then you drive up into Marina for the main viewing party. So there'll be exciting stuff this season. We have a lot of amazing prizes to give away to our patrons. Predict and Win, as Nana was saying, is going to be an interesting one this season based on what we are seeing and the cars that are coming up onto the grid this season. So this season, we aim to, first of all, develop the sport, which is number 1, and then also to develop the interest in the sport, in motorsport itself, which is number 2. And to do all of these, we'll be very soon inaugurating the Motorsport Federation, which will be overseeing a major league, which is our Ghana Inter-Schools Go-Kart competition, which is going to be competitions between various schools and colleges in Ghana. We want to begin to unearth our own talent in the motorsport industry. So this year, F1 is going to be very, very interesting. We're doing a lot more driving or outdoor events because of the COVID-19 safety protocols and all. So we are limiting all our indoors and spending more time outdoors for almost all of our events this season.
Wow, interesting stuff there. So I'm very interested in the bit where a ticket will be given to
we have
one person.
We are working on giving out 6 tickets for the 6 major events. So 6 people will win races and get the chance to go and watch either Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia or the Singapore Grand Prix. These 3 major Grand Prix. Yeah.
Interesting stuff there. Well, let's just see how it goes. For next weekend, obviously, we'd have to leave a lot of the conversations for next weekend. But Let's just go around the table a bit. What's the feeling? Doc is very good at that, you know. What's the gut feeling?
Oh yeah, my gut feeling is that as usual, you know, after every preseason last year, it was Ferrari making all the noise after the preseason testing. So everybody believed they were going to happen, you know, and they didn't happen. This year is Red Bull making all the noise, and as usual, I expect the Mercedes to happen again. And Lewis is cool. He has signed a 1-year contract because of the COVID issues and the caps in salary and stuff. But he's going to be there. I mean, the guy will be as relentless as possible. Anybody who wants to beat him has to be consistent. So I'm going with the usual. Mercedes on top.
Mercedes on top. Whoa, that
So
some great brand endorsement there.
And Haas at the bottom and everybody else.
everybody else.
Yeah, come on.
So for me, the thing is that Lewis, over the past 2 or 3 years, has a shaky start, especially from the first race, you know. But you can never write him off after that. He comes back with probably 2 or 3 consistent wins, and then just play it safe till the end, you know. But this year, obviously, as I was saying, he was going to have it tough. I still see Mercedes probably winning the Constructors' Championship, but the championship will be a battle between the Lewis and the hothead Verstappen. Sorry, but Red Bull Master, I'm sorry, but he's a hothead.
I see. Well, let's see. Let's leave the rest of it for the coming weekend, and let's see how it goes. So, what's going to be the plan for next weekend? The starting.
So
race
next
again?
weekend, what we're working on is that for A1 Raceway on the 27th, all those who want to join us at A1 Raceway, you can join us by driving there. But then organizers are working on transportation, which we'll put out in the group as soon as it is confirmed. We'll put out on all our platforms that the transportation will be available at the Airport Shell or the Accra Mall to move people to A1 Raceway. We will have a fun time at A1 Raceway. We'll watch the qualifiers for the first race also at A1 Raceway, courtesy DSTV media partners, and also courtesy Joy Sports. We'll be there to watch the first qualifiers over there. There will be a predict and win right there for the first qualifiers. Who's on pole, who's second, who's third, who's fourth. And then the next day, which is the Sunday, our first major race, is going to be at the Marina Mall up at the car park. So Saturday, everything over there brought to you by Heineken. Heineken is a major F1 experience, F1 experience partner. And for our first race, also obviously Heineken is going to be giving away a lot of stuff, also with Shell, Vivo Ghana, and Shell as well.
Wow, lovely stuff. Lovely stuff there. Doc. Excitement. But before we wrap this up, how has it been for all of you? I mean, the whole family, the whole Ghana F1 family in the lean period.
It's been tough.
Tough waiting for the first race.
Especially with the bereavements and
yes,
you know, members losing family
and
members.
yes.
I mean, one person we want to share our condolences with is Paul.
Paul, yes.
Paul Anka Bile, who's here with us at Joy FM. Yes.
So it's been quiet and tough and mind disturbing, you know. So we hope with the start of the season, at least, we have a new vim for life, you know, and we keep on keeping on.
Wow. Well, let's see how it goes.
And before I forget, we have 2 sleepover viewing parties at Labadi Beach Hotel, Canada.
I see.
2 sleepovers.
I see.
You know, for Australian Grand Prix and for the Japanese Grand Prix.
Yep.
So that is also going to be coming with big deals from Labadi Beach Hotel.
Wow. Loads and loads of stuff. And okay, so because of the timing, the time zones, definitely you'd have to do a sleepover party.
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. All those who are looking for exits, please start applying them now.
He should apply last year.
As to whether he has approval.
His application in December. Sure.
As to whether it's been approved, only God knows.
We will send in a petition for approval.
Okay, so this is the home of Formula One here in Ghana, and there are big things coming up this season in collaboration with your superstation Joy 99.7 FM. So you'd have to follow all of the viewing parties. We're going to do previews and reviews as well. And the team will be here throughout the season. Hopefully COVID-19 doesn't get in the way like it did in the previous season. So thank you very much, Kwabena. Thank you very much, Dr. Santiapia. And I'm going to catch you, hopefully, by God's grace, next weekend.
Thank you.
.7 FM. Remember, the show is very interactive, so you send your messages to 055 1111997. 055 1111997. Okay, stuff like this is what you'll be hearing later on when this show is over and DJ Wubeti takes over. Interestingly, DJ Wubeti is in a Black Stars jersey. He's in a replica. So the yellow replica of the Black Stars jersey is what he's wearing. And so it just tells you that everybody's just getting themselves in the mood to see the Black Stars play again. But before they play, the main area of interest is who gets to wear the jersey for these qualifiers. So I'm just going to run you through the list of players who've been selected. There we go. For the goalkeepers, it's Richard Ofori of Orlando Pirates in South Africa, Razak Abalora of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Eric Oforienchi, Mediama SC, and Danlad Ibrahim of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Danlad Ibrahim, remember, was in the goalpost for Ghana in that trophy-winning feat at the African Youth Championship, which Ghana dominated. Let's talk about the fullbacks now. Baba Abdul Rahman is in PAOK Greece. Gideon Mensah plays for Victoria Gumares in Portugal. Benson Annan MLK Zelina of Slovakia. Philemon Bafor plays for Dreams FC here in Ghana. For the central defenders is Nicolas Opoku of Amiens in France. Kasim Nuhu of Hoffenheim. Ganiu Ismail of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And Stephen Ambrosius of Hamburg in Germany. In the central midfield, these are the options. Kudus Mohamed, Ajax Amsterdam in Holland. Mubarak Wakaso of Jiangsu Suning in China. Efri Aqua of Yeni. Malatya Spor in Turkey. Emmanuel Lomote plays for Amiens in France. And Idrisu Baba plays for Mallorca in Spain. Gladson Awako of Great Olympics, the captain of Great Olympics. And Kwame Efriepoku of Colchester United in England. So on the left attacking midfield is Osman Bukhari of Ghent and Joseph Esso of Dreams FC. The right attacking midfield is Kamal Soa and Fatau Isaaku of Steadfast FC. Well, let's talk about the attacking options. Emmanuel Boateng of Dalian in China, Emmanuel Jesse of Spezia in Italy, Kwame Poku, Kumasi Asante, Kotakov, and of course there was a situation with Kwame Poku, who had to be switched to the Black Stars B team, who are going to be playing a friendly. Pyramids FC's John Entry will be there, hopefully, and Kwesi Otri plays for Willem in Holland. Caleb Kuban plays for Trabzonspor in Turkey. So this is what it's looking like. What will be your ideal Black Stars lineup for these two games, considering the challenges that we have around the world and the fact that we cannot have the full complement of some of the regulars that you are used to? Let's get on the phone line and speak to Joy Sports Muftau Nabila Abdullahi, who's been monitoring the situation. Very shortly, we're going to be having our studio guest here to also get into the discussion. But for now, let's speak to Muftau Nabila Abdullahi, who's been picking up some information concerning our squad and how everything is going to go. Muftau, good to have you here on the show.
A pleasure to be here, Nat.
And how's the Saturday going to?
It's been a good one, but I'll soon be in the office for scoreboard. So just having a good relax at home, and then I kick in.
Very well, very well, very well. We'll be looking forward to that. Well, Muftau, there's been there's major conversations about the look and feel of this squad. Let's begin with what your general thoughts are, about the quality that CK Akona has put together.
Okay, so my initial comments in relation to the squad when I first saw it was that I was completely taken aback, because what I knew was that the FA were struggling to get most of the players from Europe and other parts of the continent to come down for the games against South Africa and then Sao Tome and Principe. So they were working on getting players who would not be able to make it from main Europe. So their decision to assemble the local players was to ensure that the boys are fully prepared for a task in the two matches. So when the squad was released, and I realized that only 7, initially it was just 7. Until yesterday, they added Yusuf Mubarak and Justice Blake to make it 9. I was quite surprised. And if you took a look at the names, most of them were not within the initial plans of the technical team of the Black Stars. So it was quite interesting that they brought up names that initially were never even part of the plans of the technical team of the Black Stars. And that was where I was quite surprised. The other thing was the conversation that ensued after. I am not sure many had anticipated that we were going to have such a huge conversation surrounding the Black Stars color. We know the Black Stars have always been a national team that shoots up the emotions of fans of and the media in the country. But this one was quite surprising, considering the energy the media put in when the squad was made public.
Interesting stuff there. Now, for you, are there any key faces you'd want to see in the upcoming games for special reasons?
The key faces, there are some key faces we will have, but we'll have those key faces in the game against Sao Tome and Principe. Per what I picked up earlier, it was that most of the clubs in Europe were reluctant to release their players to play the game against South Africa because of the COVID variant and the claim that South Africa has become a COVID-19, how do they call it? Is it high zone or I've forgotten the specific word for it.
COVID-19 prone zone.
Prone zone.
Yeah. So
most of the clubs were reluctant to release their players for that match. However, some of them are willing to release their players for the game against Sao Tome and Principe. So I am made to understand that the Ayu brothers will be available for the game against Sao Tome and Principe.
Okay.
There's still some questions surrounding the availability of someone like Thomas Partey, because at this point he just returned from injury.
Exactly.
Yes. So there are some questions surrounding Thomas Partey. But I do know the Ayu brothers have made themselves available for the game against Sao Tome and Principe, but they will not be available for the game against South Africa. That one I do know. The other thing that I personally would have loved to see was whether if they were finally able to convince someone like Salisu. Interestingly, the communication director of the FA mentioned recently that he has rescinded his decision not to play for the national team, but now he's available. Initially, he had said that he was not going to play. Now he has rescinded his decision and he's available to play for the national team, and they will consider him in subsequent national assignments. I do not want to go on other tangents because clearly there were other players, the likes of JC, the likes of Joseph Payne, so questions as to why they have not made it to a final squad remains unanswered, because it is only the top hierarchy of the Ghana Football Association that can provide those answers. I would have personally liked to see someone like Christopher Nete of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, because he had a very good game against Sudan in Cape Coast. He played 1 hour in that game. Unfortunately, he has been dropped for Philemon Bafo. I would have loved to see someone like Samuel Ashikwe. Unfortunately, he's also not been called up. But the decision to drop him is quite understandable, because you have the likes of Gideon Mensah, Jabal Rahman, who are up there. So automatically you would think that they will make it. But another player who has had a sensational season is Ibrahim Moro. Interestingly, I was made to understand that Ibrahim Moro was not dropped. But when the final list was released, his name was not in there. There was also the other aspect of Diawusi Taylor, who has had a sensational season, scoring 12 goals in the Ghana Premier League. I was also made to understand that he was not dropped by CK, but when the final list came out, his name was not there. So this brought us to a point where people began raising issues. Why would the coach send a list to the FA to be released only for different names to appear? I was made to understand that the head coach placed a call to the communications director of the FA, Henry Asante-Chum, and expressed his reservations about some of the names that he saw in the list. Not just the Colchester Kwame Opoku, but other names. So, according to sources, Henry went and spoke to the FA president how CK Akono is angry that some names have been included in the Black Star squad. These are not names CK Akono was not aware of, because I am personally aware of certain meetings that transpired, about 2-3 different meetings in relation to the squad, because how they were going to get them, who was going to feature and all that. And the Colchester Kwame Opoku, I am reliably told that it was the FA president who had earlier met him and his parents and was convinced about his quality and said that this boy can help Ghana in the future. So in their conversations, he told the technical team that even if you cannot take him to South Africa for the game against South Africa, give him some minutes against Sao Tome and Principe. So this clearly means that CK Akono was aware someone like Kwame Opoku or Kwame Poku was coming. But using him is where he had concerns. But the explanation of the FA was that it was political, because at this point, this guy's career could blossom to the extent that the English FA might take him and leave us. Now we are struggling to get the likes of Tariq Lamptey and co. So let's be fast in getting some of these boys. And this boy is just 19. Maybe by the time he turns 20, 21, 22, people might have seen him. But CK has his own reservations. So to allow the boy into the Black Star squad was what CK did not include. But how his name appeared there is what we cannot also explain. But his invitation was done by the FA president. Then there's also the other aspect of the satellites, 3 satellite players. The decision to include these satellite players was taken in Mauritania. The team was going for one of their training sessions for the semi-final, where the chairman of the team, Mr. Randy Abe, or Dr. Randy Abe, suggested that these boys are so good, so there should be a conscious effort to have at least 3 of them included into the national team. And that will motivate other boys to also put up their best. So when they came, the vice president of the FA actually mentioned that some of them were going to be moved into the Black Stars. But the decision to have them there was taken in Mauritania. And I think that was a smart one by Dr. Randy Abe, because he has been there, he has seen it. The 2009 Under-20 World Cup squad, he was part of that team. He's very much aware of how Milo promoted 6 players into the Black Stars and subsequently their impact into the national team. So I think this one was a smart one by Randy Abe. However, the reservation the technical team had was that they were forcing players on them. Players were deemed unready. That was the other aspect of it. Then they go to the political angle, where people claim that they took out some of the names because they will enrich, when they play for a national team, they will enrich their managers. And their managers will later come and contest for power at the FA. Those are some of the political things that have happened. But on the playing field, that is what we know.
All right. Interesting things that you've raised here, and I'm going to be asking my studio guest as well what they also make of all of these and what they have also picked up as we build up to this. But I mean, in a nutshell, you should be expecting 2 good games, isn't it?
I'm expecting two good games, but the concern is whether these players would have enough time to train like we had with only the local Black Stars. There are players like Salifu Umoro, whom personally I've made to understand that the technical director was so impressed and is still asking questions, why did they drop this boy? If we are going to have a very good games against South Africa and Sao Tome and Principe, it means that we should be putting up our best foot forward. But I'm extremely convinced that this is the point for CK Akuno to prove himself, rather than fighting the off-field battles. Those off-field battles are likely to distract him. And if he wants us to have very good games, they should do away with the off-field battles and concentrate on the on-field matters. His last training session was yesterday at Legon, because they are closing down the Accra Sports Stadium for the second round of the Premier League. So his training sessions were moved to Legon. Hopefully, he's able to get a full complement of his team, get his ideas across before the 25th of March when we take on South Africa.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Muftar Nabila Abdullahi. Very, very interesting thoughts that you've raised there, and some of them are ones that we should be very concerned about. We'll do the rest here in the studio, but have a good one.
A pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Muftar Nabila Abdullahi is here at Joy Sports, and he was raising some reservations about how parts of the selection was done, and he talks about picking up some key information about the suggestions that have been made to the technical team, something that we've been used to over the years. So is it so bad? Is it something so bad that we cannot be able to contain? Is this something we should encourage going forward? Well, here with me in the studio are Coach Osman Saidu. He's appearing here a second time in a fortnight for very obvious reasons. He's been following the Black Stars. He's been following some of the players and has massive interest in this subject. Now, he contributes his quota when it comes to organizational matters at the level of the Greater Accra Coaches Association under the Ghana National Coaches Association. Coach Osman Saidu, thank you very much for making the time to be here with us today. Thank you. Now, let's also, take the thoughts of... We'll also be taking the thoughts, I beg your pardon, of the man who's the editor-in-chief of 442gh.com. He is specialized in football matters, and he's been on the show quite a number of times when it comes to analysis of some of the key issues in our football. Today, we're throwing the focus heavily on the Black Stars team. Remember, you can send in your messages. It's 055 1111997, 055 1111997. Let me begin with you, Coach Osman. It just seems like every other time, there will be conversations about why this player was not picked, why that player was not picked. It looks like we waste a lot of our energy, especially moments after the head coach releases the squad for the game. And it's always, and why wasn't this other player chosen?
Thank you very much, Nat. I want to say hello to my daddy. He bears my daddy's name, and I have to pay homage anytime I see him anywhere. Now, Nat, I think it has to do with opinions and the way people can do things differently. So, even in this room, if we're allowed to pick the players that should feature in this match, definitely we're going to have different opinions. That you would definitely be selecting somebody that I will not select. Likewise, would my father also select? So there would always be controversy when it comes to selection of players. But the bottom line is there is something we also call standard, and there is something we call quality. And that is where the argument should be. It's not about selecting the players, but it's about selecting the quality players. And what process did we go through in selecting those players? Now, the most important thing is the end result, Nat. If we are not able to get a very good result after the selection of those players, then there will be issues. From the coach's perspective, there is no coach, I don't think there would be any coach who would just select players for selecting sake. All coaches would like to win matches, and they would like to select players that would win the matches for them. Those players might not necessarily be your choice. However, they know the tactics they want to play, because really it is the players that determine what formation you should play. Yeah. So before a coach decides to select a player, then he knows exactly what he wants to do with the player. So there would always be controversy, but as I did indicate initially, the bottom line should be, are they good quality players? Are they the players that are the best that we can get at this given material moment? And are they going to get the goals for us? Are they going to win the match for us? But the issue of disagreeing with the number of players selected for a particular position is always going to be an issue, Nat.
Very well. Now, Saidu, you've been monitoring. I mean, the Siki Akuno's technical team have been around. I mean, they've been monitoring the Ghana Premier League. He himself has driven through, watched some of the games, monitored and all of that. So, obviously, this should be these selections should have been informed by technical eyes and by technical opinions, right?
Yes, the selections should always be informed by technical opinion,
which is supposed to be the case. That's what I'm saying.
That's supposed to be the case.
Okay, is that the case? From where you sit, is that the case?
From where I sit, I think what is happening goes beyond technicalities.
Okay,
what is
tell us about it.
Goes beyond the Black Stars technical team. Isn't it fascinating that in all the discussion, there's no mention of the management committee of the Black Stars? Does that not surprise you? Because the Black Stars Management Committee plays a key role in the selection of players. But for the first time in, let's say, over 20 years, there's no mention of the Black Stars Management Committee and their role in this whole saga. Because when Kwesi Nantagyi took over the Black Stars Management Committee from Mr. Fred Papo, we saw what happened, how he involved himself. And in fact, you realize that at a point in time, as the president of the FA and also the chairman of the management committee, he was firmly involved in activities of player selection. And
well, let me hold on. Interesting that this has come up, and I'd like to apologize to listeners because we do have this soundbite. It would take quite a while to retrieve it. Otherwise, I would have played the soundbite of Coach Kwesi Appiah telling me in an interview ahead of the launch of his book, Leaders Do Not Have to Yell, that Kwesi Nyantakyi never argued with him about player selection or never influenced his player selection. He said it categorically. That was Kwesi Appiah on our network.
Yes, so that could have been the real case. But from public opinion, you remember Kwesi Nyantakyi in one of his interviews said the Black Stars is not a National Assembly, and therefore we cannot be calling people players from various regions and various clubs. That was the extent of how people felt that the national team was not being selected based on merit. And merit brings me to this discussion. Why has the FA failed to push the coach or to get a coach to put up his criteria for selection? Because, Nat, if you take this selection, it's any technical person that takes this selection will know that this is a country that is not focused on building a national team. This is a country that does not even understand what a national team appearance should be. Now,
why do you say
selection? Take this selection. Of the 29 players, we have a whopping 44% being having their debut call up to a national team. That has played 4 qualifiers and has only 2 to play to end the qualifiers. 44%. 44%. When you are going into such a crucial qualifiers, you have 44 new faces into your team. Beyond that, we have 31% of the players being local, and of the 31%, only 10% of that number has been in the team before. In fact, if you take the remaining 29% of the players that have been in the team before, only 2 have had more than 20 caps for the national team. Clearly, this should tell you that this is a depleted national team side. This is a national team that does not have legacy. This is a national team that do not have the continuational program in terms of let's build on from these players to that players. We do not have that. And people will say we do not call our best players. Who are the best players? And you remember before the X-Man, we spoke about this. Ghana can now boast of only 5 top quality players in terms of players that play at the highest level. Talk of Partey, talk of Kudus, Andre Ayew, Jordan Ayew, and who else? These are the only known Ghanaian players playing at the top level. In fact, we do not have players playing in the top 50 clubs in the world. So it makes the work very difficult for the coach. That's the first point.
Hold on. Have we at any point in the last 15 years had players or 90% of our players playing in the top 50 clubs in the world? I do not think that has happened.
Yes, but we've had
not even in the era of the Stephen Appiahs and the Suleiman Taris.
But in those era, we had a majority of them playing at teams that everyone can appreciate. Because if at the time you had players playing for Marseille, players playing for Udine, Juventus, Rennes, Chelsea, these are well appreciated clubs. Inter Milan. But today, where does our captain play? And that's not even the problem. The problem is that we've not made conscious effort to get the rest of the players to get promoted. Now, the question again is, why is that Ibrahim Tanko team that went to Egypt? It's only Gideon Mensah who's got an opportunity to be in this team. Joseph Pinto, name them. So this is a depleted national team. There is no program. There is no policy. There is no national team manual. That is why this is happening. If we had a policy, if we had a player call-up manual, the coach would be forced to follow that manual. But unfortunately, there is none. So the coach just comes around, calls any player he sees on site. Because who would argue to the point that we should allow locally based players to go and play this qualifier? And that's what people have found problems with me. I say that in 2001, when the great Jones Atukwe assembled a 11-man locally based side to play Nigeria, even today, there are people that continue to blame him that it was through that singular action that Ghana failed to qualify for the 2002 World Cup. And this was a time that Ghana had the best league in Africa, because House of Oak had then been rated as the 8th best team in the world. They had the quality at the time. But people continue to believe that if he had called the professionals at the time, Ghana would have beaten Nigeria and made it to the World Cup. So today, when the Ghanaian league is ranked 20th, when our top club is unable to even beat some of the weakest teams across the globe, we still want to trust our AFCON qualifiers entirely in the hands of local based players. I disagree. And the point is also that for the past 3 years, or for the past 3 tournaments, Ghana have failed to qualify for the CHAN tournament, which is local continental based. So I think that the 3 issues that were raised in the run after the call-up, issues of dropping local based players, I think that one I blame the FA, because the FA had their communication wrong. For the FA to have said that we want to postpone the league so that Siki Akono and his technical group have enough time to prepare for that game meant that they were telling the locally based players that you were the ones going to play the game. But obviously not. You and I know that the challenge at the continental level is way beyond our locally based players. It is way beyond them. Because I watch ESA player Santiago in Accra.
Yeah.
And in fact, that same ESA team that beat Kotoko in Accra is struggling to even win matches at the group stage of the CAF Confederations Cup. They are struggling to win. So if our players are unable to beat such teams like ESA, we think that they have the war without to beat South Africa. That is one aspect of the discussion. The next aspect of the discussion is the call-up of a certain League 2 player. I want to call it League 2 than the people say 4 tier 4, obvious reason. Question: if we can appreciate and allow that a Division 1 league player in Ghana is called into the national team, why not a 4-tier player in England, especially when he has talent, when there is the potential of he coming? Who knew that Jerome Boateng would get to this level? Haxin Odoi, Danny Warbeck, and the list goes on and on and on. So I think that if we had a proper manual, a proper national team policy, this wouldn't have been happening. Like my brother Muftau mentioned, and he kept mentioning the FA president's name over and over. Why should that happen? Why should the FA president get involved in national team call-up? Does he trust the work of the competencies of the technical team? And I have suggested somewhere that I think if all these comments are true, then the national team coach has no business in being there. He should resign from his post. And the management committee has lots of questions to answer to us, because it's as though they are only in place as a name and not in practice. Because at this time we should be seeing the management committee of the national team actively involved in what is happening. What is their role at this team? What is their position in all these issues? Especially when we knew that players from France would not be available for this competition, we still went ahead to call the players from France. And there is a certain list that I'm still trying to get. The initial list that Siki Akono presented to the management committee, which was eventually ignored. We will dig deep and get those lists out.
Well, we're looking forward to getting those lists out, and we're looking forward to seeing how it will go. Now, we have to also place it very clearly that one of us here at Joy Sports managed to pick up the information concerning the involvement of FA officials in the selection. Now, Coach, this practice that we always talk about, is it so bad? That is the question. I'm looking at a few situations and a few scenarios here. The scenario where the players are imposed on the coach, which is what is being suggested based on what has been picked up from sources at the FA. And the other one where it's just suggesting to you, like for instance, you, Coach Osman Seidu, are in charge of the Black Stars, and I'm a management committee member, or I'm an FA executive, and I say, oh, Coach, I think you guys should really give a second look to this guy. This guy does well in this particular position. I think you guys should take a second look and give him a chance. So is it so bad?
Not, yes, it can't really be bad beyond what you are even thinking about. Now, it has two dimensions that we have to really look at if we want to digest this issue. Two, one is when it has a different dimension when we have a local coach in charge, and it has also a different dimension when we have a foreign coach in charge.
Is it to suggest that the foreign coaches do not permit this practice when they are here working with us? Is it that the FA do not have a say or are not able to, for want of a better word, influence the selections?
No, they are influenced, but as I did say, it has different dimensions. So, for foreign coach, it is alleged that they would like to use players that they are managing, or they have somebody who is managing that player. So, it's also the same issue. And then the local coach would face the challenge of, now we are not going to deal with managing any player. Alleged again that I am telling you that you have to fix this player because I am talking, because I am this or I am that. So now, to really be able to bring this issue to an end, there should be a collective effort from everybody. One of the things that we should do is what we are doing right now. Let's talk about it. Let's make sure that everybody is aware that this is what is going on and is not acceptable. Because not, look, if it is really confirmed that somebody is influencing something somewhere, absolutely is not acceptable and should be condemned by everybody. Because the stakes are really, really, really something that we should be concerned about. It's about Ghana. It's not about any individual. Look, this South African match is not a match that we should joke with. It's a match that can really, really cast slurs over our chances of winning or of qualifying to whatever tournament we are talking about. So to me, really, it is a problem identified. What are we doing to solve the problem? We should go beyond talking about the problem. We've been talking about the problems for a long time. It didn't start today. It won't end today. So let's move ahead, one step ahead. Let's start talking about the possible solutions, start giving alternatives. He made mention of the player selection manual. Is this something that's standard? Is this something we want to adapt? What is our playing philosophy? In the next 5 years, where do we want to get? What is our short-term goal? What is our long-term goal? We are managing the Black Stars as if what we call spaghetti management. Look, we ought to be better and serious than this. We've been to World Cup for 3 consecutive times. And to me, that is big. Look at what we did in South Africa. The whole world knows that Ghana is a country to really beat. In Brazil, 2014, I was there. Germany won the cup. And Ghana is the only country they drew with. They won all the...
Ghana is the only nation they couldn't beat en route to winning.
Exactly. So to me, we are also there. Let's start talking about the solutions. What are the solutions to stop this?
Well, the solutions indeed. And you made mention of something very interesting, that this practice of influencing player selection or wanting to make an input when you are not necessarily within the technical department is a practice that has been there ever since and doesn't look like it will go away. Shouldn't that be a cause for worry? Saidu?
Yeah, it's really worrying. It's worrying, especially when the coaches or the technical team's hands are tied. It's worrying when they do not have the opportunity to even come out to. Can you imagine that for the first time in many years, now the coach is not allowed to face the media in announcing his lineup? And this is a practice we've enjoyed over the last 20 years. The coaches at every point in time meets the media, expresses and explains the rationale behind certain names. This time around, the coach is made to only face the Ghana FA media, announce the list, and go. I mean, nothing happens again. And in fact, for the first time in this FA's era, the coach did not even announce the list to the FA media. They just posted it for us to guess. And it brings lots of questions. Why this way? Because it is Ghana's national team. And every Ghanaian is supposed to have an input, whether direct or indirect. And that's why I mentioned that. What is the coach's criteria? If we know the criteria, there's no problem if we assemble a whole lot of Division 2 players to play. But as we speak, key industry players do not even know the coach's criteria. So it looks like everything goes. And it brings out the discussion of business as usual. Yesterday, someone called me that the FA president has 13 players in the list. And in fact, if you do a critical analysis of the list, it looks to suggest so. Because you can...
But we need to be clear here. There are as many... What you said is that there are as many as 6 players of the FA president in the list.
13.
13
that's the allegation.
Okay. It's an allegation.
Yes.
Okay. Allegation. We need to be clear.
Exactly. So I'm saying that it's...
How do we describe a player as the FA president's player? Because as far as we're concerned, by the books, if you should go to Registrar General's now,
yes,
Kurt Okreku does not have any direct interest in any club. His name is not attached to any club. Because if he were seated here now, I'm sure that that's the same answer he would give you, that his name is not there as a director of any club. So what are we talking about? Unless we have the full evidence, and we've seen him hold a player by the hand and give him practical.
That's agreed. But the point is, then why is he directly involved in player call-up, like we've heard? Why is the FA president so much interested in the players that make the national team? He's the FA president. He needs to be interested in what's happening. But the point is, why is he directly involved, especially when he's put in place, or the executive committee has put in place a management committee, and it is the duty of the management committee. Nat, do you recall the under-20 team when they went to Benin? The issues that came up when we picked the list, it was like a quota system, and it is as though that is what has been translated into the Black Stars. Because when you picked the under-20 team, you saw that the chairman of the management committee had 2 players from his team. The vice chairman had 2 players from his team. The national team coordinator had 2 players from his team. The coach of the side had 2 players from his team. The deputy coach, same. So if we do a critical analysis of the players that have been invited, it looks as though so. Because if you have players directly from Dreams FC, and there's the belief that players from other parts from other clubs even do better than these players, and they are invited. And the point is, for instance, let me mention this player, Joseph Eso. We all know Joseph Eso to be an attacker. He's placed in the team and put as a right winger. Is it to suggest that, okay, he's a right winger, that's why we put out a striker?
But we saw what happened in the under-20. That Olympics player.
Exactly.
He was a right winger, but he was playing.
He was playing at the left back.
So he can do that.
So if you do all these things, it raises questions as to your involvement, your interest, because the national team has a properly set up technical department with people we believe are competent enough to do the job. Beyond that, the national team has a well set up management committee with people that have the competencies to manage the national team. So if all these group of people cannot do the job, and it has to take the FA president to do the job, that means that the national team management committee will have to be dissolved. Mr. Jojamako would have no business being the national team management committee chairman, because in all the discussion, we failed to mention his name in the role that he played in the run-up to the players' invitation and how the players are going to be appear. So I think that we need to have a proper national discussion on how we want this national team to fare, the direction we want this national team to go. And at least I know that from 2006 to 2017, the Black Stars showed that at least they can get to the semi-final stage. So that's the benchmark that has been registered. So if you are an FA president and you are responsible for the national teams, you should be able to maintain that set benchmark. But with this collapse, with this legacy, with this group of players we have invited, in fact, CK Akona has invited virtually almost 80 players in only 4 matches. What does it mean? It means that there is no national team. It means that it has rather become the National Assembly question that they just spoke about, that anybody at all can join the national team. And not, we cannot run the Blasters this way.
Now, I think Sedu made a very important point that I think we should relook at to perhaps change our perception towards that. And that is the fact that 36% of the 40% you said. But with this COVID, and I mean, clubs do not want to release their players.
Yeah.
I rather would have thought that we rather recommend them for being proactive. Because look, they assembled some local players, started training with them, and then envisaging that in case it doesn't go well with the foreign players, then we start playing with these local players. And to me, that's a plus.
Yeah, but that's the problem we face now. Because if you call an initial 31 locally based players, you prune it down to 26, now prune it down to 24, add the under 20 team to make 27. Then you pick only 7. Now, this is where the issue is. From 31 to 26 to 27, then finally you settle on 7.
No, but
that's a problem.
Even if you settle on 3,
yes,
it means you have settled on quality 3. Because look, if you are shuffling them, and then you want to select 3 out of 27, definitely all other things being equal, if the selections are done well, we are assuming that they are the best 3 out of the 27.
Yeah.
So what then it means is that you had alternatives, but you selected the best. So at the end of the day, it's good for Ghana.
Yeah, but
however, there's a caveat here. However, if those that have been dropped are better than the foreign players that are being invited, and you gave a very good statistics about the fact that we cannot rely on these local players.
Yeah, exactly.
So if out of the local players we cannot, you should be happy that we even have only 7 there.
Yeah,
I think not.
Not, I get the point, but the point is that for the effort to make it look as though they were going to rely on the local business, it's the problem today. If you come through the discussion, that seemed to be the problem, because the FA made a very categorical statement that we are postponing the beginning of the second round of the league to the first week of April to make way for the Black Stars coach to have enough time with the players he has at hand. Then you end up calling 7. And what does the FA regulation say? It says that unless a club has more than 3 players, the game can be played. So if it is 7, why not play a league? That's the question. And that's how people feel that the FA and the national team handlers hasn't been fair to Ghanaians, one to the locally based players, and to Ghanaians. Because we want to watch our league. Ghanaians want to watch their league. So if it is 7 players, it means that we could have still played the league without the 7. So why make it look as though we are going with the locally based players? Then finally you take only 7. Then come and tell her you are going to play a certain Uzbekistan in a friendly match. I think those are the problems. Those are the issues people have.
And Uzbekistan, we need to make clear, is a game for the Black Stars B side.
Yes, the Black Stars B.
Very well.
But not why should we sacrifice our league for a friendly that do not add anything to the national team? Why should we sacrifice our league? Someone must convince me why we must sacrifice the whole Ghana Premier League. And that's what I spoke about, value. The handlers of the Ghana Premier League, the handlers of the national team, have failed to place value on the product that they have. Because if you have value, we value it. And I mentioned, if I do the stats now, you'll be amazed. The stats in terms of how our league gets devaluated by the day. And these are the events that makes them so. I spoke about Nuru Sule's issue last time. Nuru Sule, when he joined the Accra Zofok, his value was 250,000 euros. Just about 3 months after joining us, his value now goes down to 100,000. And it's not as though he's not playing. Nuru Sule plays day in, day out. Asamajan's value at the time he joined Legon Cities was 400,000 euros. Asamajan's value now, today, is 100,000 euros. That's how far our league keeps degrading, keeps devaluating, falling in terms of its value. And so, because we are playing Uzbekistan ahead of playing our league, who will take you serious? And this is the discussion we want to have, or this is the discussion people want to have. That if we say, fine, 7 players, then let's play our league. Why go play Uzbekistan?
Well, well, I trust that you out there also have thoughts on this subject. Seydou Adamu is the editor of the 442.com.gh newspaper, and Coach Osman Seydou is a pundit and also an analyst and is a coach. Please take these messages from those of you who are not here in the studio with us, which is most of you, 90% of you. Now, Abochi Philip in Keta says, in fact, those days when the Ghana Black Stars was in function, we were all happy to see it. For now, because of the poor performance of the Black Stars, Ghanaians are not ready to watch their matches again. The current coach is performing very well, so therefore, in the game change, Ghanaians will watch. If the game changes, Ghanaians will watch. This is okay. Good afternoon to Mr. Stanley Dogwe, he says. Okay, thank you very much, Philip from Keta. Thank you very much for that message. Some more on 055 05511119997. 05511119997. Okay. Now, this one says, hi, Nat. I think Ajenum Boateng's inclusion of the Black Stars B squad is very bad. Though he, as a forward, was part of the midfielders who were very, very bad for Ghana soccer. Can't wait for the second round of the GPL, the only league that matters. I am Success PK from Dakuman. Okay, Success PK, thank you very much for this message. We'll try to retrieve some more. There we go, as we do some more. Okay. Now, there is this one that says, Sika should resign now and the work to be done by coach. Let me take that again. Simple, CK should resign now and leave the work to Ket to do the coaching job. This is from Mona. Okay, Mona, thank you very much for your message. There's another one here that said, good afternoon, Nat. I think it's time the local guys would have to prove themselves, but the questions are, one, why are we not performing in Africa at the club level? What can our local guys have to portray when we're not allowing them to? Is it about bad coaching or financial motivation? Now, just to mention a few, it's from Ajiman Joseph in Committee 9 in Tema, a.k.a. Ajingo the Man. Let me get online and go straight to North America, where Ridwan Ibrahim Asante has been monitoring the show. He's monitored the thoughts as well, and he has, some comments to make, on what we've discussed so far. Very soon we'll be getting into who the probables could be, as we gear up. And I remember very well that Muftar Nabila Abdullahi mentioned to us that there's a confirmation by the Ayu brothers that they'll be available for the Sao Tome game and not the South Africa game. Ridwan, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Nat.
Okay, Ridwan, we've been trying to see how we can get an ideal side for these two games, so ideal lineups for these two games. But before that, obviously there have been many angles. Seydou here with me and Coach Osman in the studio have had their thoughts expressed. Now, one of the key things here is that we did not get the regular news conference that could get journalists to ask certain key questions. And also the fact that you see the invisible hands of some FA executives in the selection.
Yeah. I think it's a valid point. A good call from Seydou. But I disagree with him today on quite a number of issues. A lot of the issues I disagree not. And I'm disagreeing not because I'm intelligent, than Seydou, but I think it's just a matter of, points and assessing the situation. We all have varied opinions. And today, people have taken a high stand. Ket's name has been mentioned. Administrators have been pilloried, as it were. But I hold a contrary view. Trust me. I think per our situation, per our culture, per our footballing structure, right? Some of the things that are done are fit for our society. And even sometimes it's pervasive to some extent. Who signed Dominic Dia for AC Milan? Adriano Galliani. Who was the coach at that time? Leonardo. Did he use him? No.
Yeah.
Who signed Shevchenko for Chelsea?
Andrei Shevchenko, yes.
Who signed him? Did the coach at that time use him? Was it Jose? Did he use him? No. We've had times whereby administrators have signed players for coaches and have decided which players should play, and they have won matches. Now, who transferred the young boy Felix Ohenejan to AS Roma? Oliver Atta, the agent, right? If Oliver has a team today, Oliver is doing the job as an agent, and also as a scout. When Sly was in charge of Liberty, he was traveling to every nook and cranny of this country to look for talent. Was Sly a scout, or was he a coach, or was he an agent? Can you classify for me? No. Cheetah, Abdul Hayes, with Cheetah FC, is moving everywhere in this country to look for talent for his team. If he has a coach, do you know the influence he has on the coach? Let's not sit there and try to talk about administrators like they are doing something wrong when there's a thin line between intervention and interference. There's a very thin line, Nat. And we shouldn't badmouth people. Already our football is struggling. See, for me, I defend Ket on this issue. I didn't start listening to you guys from the beginning, but every administrator, George Efie, is involved in player scouting. He's selling his players. These guys are down, to the roots, grassroots. All of them are involved in grassroots football development. And so when they make suggestions to a coach, the coach can never discount them. See, Nat, Wilfred Palmer, his eyes in identifying coach and players, you have no idea. Alhaji Grusa, you dare discount his suggestions to you as a coach that, don't take it. See, when we watch European football and, South American football, and we want to use that as a basis in classifying all our football administrators, we'll be wrong.
Redwan,
I plead of you. We'll be wrong. See,
okay.
The guy
Redwan, you hold on there a bit. Now, is this to suggest that the exploits of our coaches, our national team coaches, when it comes to the scouting operation, is just not adequate?
I don't want to say it's inadequate, but you see, they complement each other with the sort of system we run here. Chike Akono does not know some of the players better than the management members. Seydou Adamu said that when they looked at the under-20 list, it was like a ratio. The management member, it's true, Seydou, you are perfectly right. But with the system of football we are running here, whereby the same club people, those involved in grassroots scouting, development, and administration are the same people who rise to become the executive chairman and the football authorities in this country. We will have the same situation. It will continue with us until thy kingdom come. So we should look at how to harness it and try to buffer the situation, maybe a bit ventilate the issues properly and say, where do we draw the line of conflict of interest? But you see, Nat, people are putting their money into football and they are not getting anything in return. And so when he has become management member and he's labored with his quality of players, he's been able to scout, you are telling him, there's a chance for my boy to play in under 20. I should sit back and say, bring another person's player from nowhere. I mean, we shouldn't be quick to conclude on issues like this.
Okay, so
Seydou also said something. And sorry, Seydou, we have this discussion. It's not that I'm trying to write you up or something like that. But the issue with he said that they should tell us the criteria or something why a friendly match, the local Blasters game or the league should be put on hold. Where do our clubs make money from? Where do they make money from? We saw, was it Lee Adi, when Ghana local Blasters play against Argentina? I think it was then. It was true that one of those games that Lee Adi got a contract and then signed. Also, this boy, what's his name, Kadiri from Gophers, when he, or Ashgold, when he played in the local Blasters friendly, I've forgotten which game, or was it the main Blasters? Either the main Blasters or local Blasters. We played a friendly game in Europe. I'll just refresh my pages. He got signed. He got identified. So yes, we can do all the textbook analysis. You know, AFA chairman shouldn't do this. Why should they, make suggestions to the coach? Blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, I'm saying that the way we behave, our footballing structure, our footballing culture, the administration, how it is run, is the same way the people are going to behave. So they are not behaving, like they are in Pluto and football is run on Mars. We are all on Earth, the planet Earth, and they are doing what they are supposed to do to help the situation because that's what they do. Keto Kreku has traveled the length and breadth of this country, identified talent. He's involved in players. He knows what a good talent is, a talent that can make it in Europe, a talent that can survive. So when he suggests to a coach, and I'm using Kets because his name has been mentioned, not that because, I'm trying to defend him. It's the same way. Togby Afede and Kets will not operate the same way because Togby is far from the game. He's just a financier, a bankroller. But for those who have been involved, Nat, you were close to Sly Tete, the late. You mean Sly never suggested to Liberty which player should play? Nathaniel Attoh, can you confirm on Sports Link that Sly never had a say in player selection at Liberty?
He sure had.
You see, so please, let's not make our football administrators bad. We are painting them, with just the wrong colors, and it might affect our football in the long run. Okay. And if I'm lying, maybe Seydou can tell me that I'm wrong. But the same people who are administrators are involved in player scouting. Alhaji Grusa, you just mentioned them. Ojo Safu was in your studio. Remember that after his incident, he told you about the work he's doing. George Efuye, recently he sold 3 players to Caceres for Malatyaspor, Yeni Malatyaspor in Turkey. 3 players, right? Ask you what he's been doing scouting talent. I gave you the Oliver Essa example. They spotted the boy playing schools football in Sunyani, and the boy now is playing for AS Roma. So when Oliver has a team, you want to tell him he cannot suggest to you which player should play? He is not like Pini Zahavi. Pini Zahavi does not get involved like this.
Very well. Okay, so the point is made. And so clearly we're going to be having this phenomenon run across in our football. There's no doubt about it.
Because at a point in time, even Alhaji Tete was accused of having so many players in the
Black Stars team. I remember very well. Yes. Adekoka made that allegation. I remember very well. Okay, let's come. Let's hold it a minute on your side. Let's come back into the studio and pick the thoughts of Coach Osman Seydou. He wanted to make a quick reaction there. Yeah.
Ridwan, hope you're doing well. Now,
I'm fine.
There is something called conflict of interest, Ridwan, everybody is a major stakeholder in this. Now, my point is that we should not mistake conflict of interest to sort of denying people from doing what they want to do. That's my point. So, for example, if you are the FA president and you tell the coach that I've spotted this gentleman, go and look at him for me, indirectly, you are telling the coach, select that player. That's the reason why.
No, how do you determine that? How do you determine indirectly? He's telling the player, it's up to the coach. We all make suggestions. And coach, see, when I have a team and you are my coach, and I tell you, oh, there's this boy who can play midfield, try him. I'm not telling you to go for maybe there might be a relation. It depends on the relationship. Some coaches I know, they have so much trust in their team owners or the owners of clubs that they know that, and even some coaches tell you that, Charlie, boy, me team run and then buy or kofani free sunyani and I say baby no then buy. You understand? See, at Wafa, Carrie Brocken, he's everywhere watching every player. And Mr. Broken, he knows every player's capabilities. And so when he tells you, the coach, Coach Sadiq, fill this boy. I found Majid Ashimiri playing. Fill him in your team. You, the coach, because of his pedigree and the work he's been able to do over the year, or he's done over the years, you're able to say, yes, my manager is right, or my team owner is right. The owner of the team is right because I trust him. So that's where we draw the line. And I'm saying that there's a thin line. We shouldn't go overboard. That's the point. We shouldn't go overboard to say, and it's wrong, and it's that. See, do you know the number of if the football administrators are to speak today, the number of players that football administrators have brought into national teams and they've excelled, or even in football clubs, you'll be amazed.
Okay, Ridwan. Okay.
Who brought Patau? Patau into the under-20 team? Who brought him?
Okay.
Who brought him?
Okay, let's come quickly for another reaction from Seydou. Yeah, sure.
Unfortunately, my brother Ridwan, in all the examples he gave, never mentioned anyone that relates to national team. And this discussion, hold on, Ridwan, hold on.
I give you Kadri.
Not on that case. On the issue of intervention and interference, and I am even. What happens here goes beyond intervention. We know what is intervention. We know how people intervene in such issues. But these are clear manifestations of interference. Now, again, when you talk about clubs and the relationship between club owners and their technical setup, it's completely different from the FA president's relationship and the technical team, because hold on. Let me make this point. Hold on, let me make this quick point.
I'll allow you.
Hold on. This is a national team that has a well-structured technical committee, management committee, that is supposed to report to the executive council where the president sits. So if the president goes beyond the executive, the management committee, and speak to the technical team of the team, that is where the problem is. And I think that Ridwan must get this. In under 20 case, we saw the management committee come out to respond. In fact, the chairman spoke, the vice spoke, the one of the members also spoke. But in this case, we have virtually not heard from the management committee. That's the problem.
Listen. The issue about kept speaking to the coach. See, we've been this thing when we went to the World Cup in 2006. Right? The same thing, the same structure has been there. When we won all the under-17 trophies, when we won, the under-20 World Cup, was like Pepe. Sometimes we make the conclusions we make are too extreme and shocking. When it doesn't favor us, we make those wild allegations. And when it favors us, for us to bring it down, for everybody to know, we failed to do that. When we went to the Under-20 World Cup, right, you remember that at the African Cup, Glasson Awaku had performed so well, and we had won gold, right? Haven't we? Or didn't we? We did, right?
Yeah.
And everybody was saying Glasson should play. That time, Rabiu had come in from Sampdoria. I think he was at Sampdoria. He was not even playing well regularly. He was with the Primavera. And Rabiu, Aziz Tete, and one other player. There were three players that were sold to Udinese from Sly Tete's Liberty Professional, right? And from Alaji Sly's Liberty Professional. And Sly Tete Fellas was then with Liberty, right? So what was the conclusion? That Sly had influenced the selection of Rabiu Mohammed in the starting lineup. But in the end, what did we do? Didn't Rabiu play so well and was so effective that we won the World Cup in Egypt? What then happens to the allegation back then that there was influence in player selection? So we can go on and talk, but the bottom line is not. See, the people there, they've got substance, they've got eyes, they can see, they understand the game, and we have to respect them. I'm not saying that they are infallible. No. But let's draw the line. Where do we draw the line? That's the most important thing, and that's the discussion I want us to look at and say, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that they are all knowing, and what they are doing is the be all and end all of the issue. We still have got situations we have to look at where a coach can stand up and say, hey, I don't think this is right to me. I'm just going to walk. If CK Akona feels he's being disrespected by the FA chairman, he should walk. Can he? No. Because the spirit, and you see, there's a relationship. CK dealt with Kurt at the club level. So there's that relationship. I don't think he will feel that he's been disrespected by Kurt. Not at all. Maybe we can talk the talk and say, yes, this is not what happens in world football. But you see, in international quote-unquote marketing, there are two things that happen. When you want to decide on issues, not more importantly, there's one thing you have to look at, is the cultural environment. Our culture, maybe we will thrive in these situations. Maybe in other culture, in England, in Ivory Coast, I don't know what happens in Ivory Coast, I don't know what happens in Togo. But I'm saying that with the structure that we have and the role of club administrators and owners, the sort of club administrators we have in Ghana, I don't think Chairman, what's his name, the Ashgold champion, will have a lot of say like this in Ashgold or with coaches, because yes, he loves football, but he has not been at the grassroots. But those who put in their money, like Abdul Yakubu of New Edibiasi, Alex Akume. Alex is they are scouting, touring everywhere, watching, kids play at all levels, and they are identifying talent. Are they scouts? When they bring those players, you don't tell them that, coach, hey, club owner, you are not a scout, so I will not accept this player from you. But when they are telling you to fill this player, then you hee-haw like a donkey. No, it can't happen. No.
Very well.
Yes,
Ridwan,
yeah. And Sedi also made a point.
Okay.
He was talking about value. Oh, Sedi, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
But so clearly there's a lot more to discuss when it comes to this, but we'll have to hold it here, wrap it up here with you. And now coming to pick, the thoughts, regarding who we can get in there. So, Ridwan, thank you very much for the time. We're going to do some more on this.
Yes, they do, and coach, thank you very much.
Very well. So, Ridwan Ibrahim Asante joined us from, North America, bringing his thoughts to the table as well. Okay, now, there's a message from Godfred Apreku. Okay, no, Godfred in Aplaku Hills. He says, CK should have invited Asamoah as a local player. Okay, thank you for your message. Now, gentlemen would go on the line to speak to Sheikh Tawfiq Sienu, so that he can give us an idea of what. Okay, he's not on yet. Well, we'll try to raise him, but let's now get into the idea of what we should be expecting from your perspectives for these two games based on who we have. We're told that there's a possibility we could have the Ayew brothers as well.
But at this moment, it's very confusing who we even have in the team. Because as we speak, we are made to believe or understand that the players from France won't be coming. We are told that the Colchester boy has been removed from the team.
Okay.
So
yeah,
now
that's true.
Who are CK's men for their job?
Yeah.
That's the question. Because if you take the 29 players, you obviously say Richard Ofori should be in goal. That's an undeniable fact. In defense or at the fullback, you have Baba Rahman, you have Benson Anang, because Benson should obviously play ahead of Philemon Bafo. But today, we do not know who the players we have coming for this competition. And I think the FA would have to communicate again their final list of players following the brouhaha. Because yesterday in the FIFA press conference, Gianni Infantino pleaded with the French government to speak to League 1 and League 2 officials to ensure that they allow players to travel. They had a meeting and decided and blocked that players were not going to travel beyond the EU zone.
That's true.
But Gianni has placed a passionate call on them to rescind that decision. If that happens, it means that we're going to have Nicolas Opoku, we are going to have Emmanuel Lomote. But in their absence, it means that Mubarak Yusuf, who's been brought back, Abdul Ganiu, and Stephen Ambrose Steven Ambrosius, who is also on the list of the German under 20. So you see the confusion.
Yeah.
What sort of discussion went in before
Okay.
his name
Now,
was
now
included?
on these, we've tried our best to see if we could raise,
A team.
you know, Henry Asantichum, the spokesperson of the FA, to respond to some of these matters. Unfortunately, we've not been able to get him. So clearly, these are things that we'll be addressing, you know, as the week goes by and as we build up to these games here. Okay, so Coach Osman, you also tell us which players within this list you would want to see as a matter of urgency, or, you know, as a matter of strategy, so they can, you know, add to the campaign and also, you know, showcase what they've got.
So because of time, I would limit myself to the midfield. And when I say midfield, I'm talking about the central midfield. So with the likes of Kudus Mohammed, Mubarak Wakaso, and the man of the local league, Gladson Awaku, I think we would have a team that can represent the country. It depends on how the coach decides to use them. Because Gladson Awaku is on top form, he's untouchable, and to him, he's more motivated than all other midfielders because he's playing in the local league. So Kudus Mohammed, Mubarak Wakazu have had the opportunity of playing several times. The motivational level might not be as that of Gladys Awako, and I strongly believe that he would deliver if he's given the opportunity to also deliver. But as Seydou said, Nat, we are not able to really talk about the players because really we don't know at the end of the day which players are really going to be available for this match. But all in all, it's a difficult match for Ghana. I expect that we totally present players in all departments that will give us the necessary win we need for this particular match.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you very much. Let's see how it goes, and do remember that we will be having, live commentary on the two big games right here on our network. So you'd have to stay with us. There's going to be a sustained build-up throughout the week as well as we build up to it. Well, last week by now we were discussing the Ghana Olympic Committee, and we were looking at what both sides running in the election had to offer. Well, eventually the election came off. It was smooth. It was incident-free. And Ben Nunu Mensah retained his position as president of the Ghana Olympic Committee. He says that he wants to get to work immediately because there are major assignments to execute. So we'll be keeping tabs, and also we'll bring the officials here, Ben Nunu Mensah and his team here, one of these days to have a conversation with us, especially as we look at collaborating for and getting ourselves ready for the Olympic Games, the Paralympics, and also, more importantly, the Africa Games in 2023. Let me take this quick message from Guy Fawkes in the UK. Nat, good afternoon. It remains very interesting the way we run our football in this country. In serious countries, the coach of the national team will have a press conference, naming his squad and answering all questions being raised. In your studio right now, alas, in Ghana, we always have something to hide. Well, thank you very much for your message. Metal flavor here in the background, but let's quickly take final thoughts from Coach Osman.
Yeah, I wish them all the best. I was in this same studio when I wished Karim Zito the best, and he was able to win the U20. I wish Coach CK the best of lucks, and I also pray that he gets the necessary support he needs for this particular match. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I would urge the Ghana FA to come out clear with their communication on some of these issues. They need to explain to Ghanaians some of the decisions they've taken, some of the decisions they are going to take, before the 2 qualifiers and also before that friendly, especially with the player collapse. While Steven Ambrosius had his name on the Ghana list and still has his name on the German list. I think all these things would have to be explained.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Would like to end this by saying a happy birthday to the CEO of GIPC, Mr. Yofi Grant. Happy blessed birthday to you. To you, my good brother Ama Romanus. Happy birthday to you as well. And the final one to Dr. Joseph Siao Ejepong, the executive chairman of the Jospong Group, under which we have the likes of Zoom Lion, celebrating 50 years of life today. Dr. Siao Ejepong, from all of us here, it's happy birthday to you. Well, mine is done here. The best roving reporter you can have anywhere or any news story is right across from me. Maxwell Agbagba here with the Joy Headline News at 2. After that, George Quay and the rest of the crew will take over and bring you Showbiz A to Z. Tomorrow we'll be here with the Joy Sports Arena. You'd have to stay tuned. Stay with us. As for the Black Stars, it must be fixed and we must win our games. Simple as that. My name is Nathaniel Attoh and I have love for sport.